Now, how does shaitan know all of this? How does he know the Day of Judgment? How does he know about the fact that Adam alayhi salam is going to have a progeny? How does he know all of this? So there's a big debate in the ulama of tafsir of how Iblis knows this. So one of the things is that he got to know this because of the jinn Anbiya, the prophets who were jinns who came to the earth before the creation of Adam alayhi salam. Either he knew from what they had said, because obviously prophets, Allah reveals to the prophets the future sometimes. So either he knew from there, or there is some weak narrations to suggest that Allah Azza wa Jal had given some of that knowledge onto the greatest of angels of what would come about in the future. And we know, for example, on Laylatul Qadr, the lower angels of this heaven, they will receive the orders from the higher angels, and Allah would have revealed it to them, and that passes down. Now, what used to happen is that when this information or some information was revealed, it would pass down, and some of the angels would have a conversation about it. So some of them would be talking about it. And Iblis was obviously walking around and he was worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal from amongst the ranks of the angels before he was outcasted. So he possibly gained this knowledge of what is going to happen from there. Whatever the case is, Iblis definitely knew of certain events. He knew of the Day of Judgment, and therefore he asked to stay alive until the Day of Judgment. He also now knew that Adam alayhi salam was going to have a progeny. And he also knew that Adam alayhi salam would most probably be sent from this Jannah onto the dunya, onto the earth. So now, having this knowledge, his jealousy and his arrogance made him say that, "Oh Allah, I am going to lead his progeny towards hellfire." Now, in Surah Al-A'raf, what Iblis says is that he'll come from different angles. So he says, "Min bayni aydihim," I'm going to come from in front of them. "Wa min khalfihim," I'm going to come from behind them. "Wa an aymanihim," I'm going to come from their right side. "Wa an shimalihim," I'm going to come from their left side. "Wa la tajidu aktharahum shakirin," you're not going to find most of them grateful to you. Now, in this particular ayah in Surah Araf, what he's saying is that he's going to try from 4 different sides. And there's a beautiful dua of the Prophet ﷺ, which is in a Sahih tradition, that when the Maghrib time comes and when Fajr time comes, there are a number of du'as a person can read to try and stay away from the shaitan. Particularly Fajr and Maghrib. Why Fajr and Maghrib? Is because these are the 2 times when the angels are making their shift to the heavens, and these are also the times when the shayateen are trying to find their greatest influence as well on the human being. And Maghrib has been mentioned in hadith, particularly where Prophet ﷺ has said, don't send your young children out after Maghrib, because that's when there's a great sort of influence of shayateen that come out. And the other heavy influence they have is the time of Fajr. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us, many du'as, many du'as. And one of the du'as is, if you can say this, Allahumma ahfazni, oh Allah, protect me, min bayni yadayya, from in front of me, wa min khalfi, from behind me, wa an yamini, from my right side, wa an shimali, from my left side, wa min fawqi, from above me, wa a'udhu bi'azamatika an ughtala min tahti, and I seek protection in the greatness of your majestic qualities from the fact that I may be taken over from beneath. So when Iblis said that I'm going to attack the sons of Adam or the daughters of Adam, when I'm going to attack them from 4 different sides, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us a dua that you seek protection from 6 different sides.
The human soul has 3 qualities. There is a nafs, which is called amara, which is a commanding soul that commands to evil. There is a nafs, which is called lawama, which is a reproachful soul when it wavers between truth and falsehood. And there is a nafs called mutma'inna, which is finally a soul at peace in the dhikr, in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first nafs if you look at it at the another aspect which our scholars have identified, is that there is a vegetative soul which is called the nafs al-nabatiyah, and its reality and source is water. Its reality and source is water, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. We placed from every living thing, we made it out of water. It is water that is the source of our own cells. And water is an element that can be polluted, and if it is, it's called khabith or najis, and it can be purified, and if it is, it's called tahir. And if it is purified and purifying, in other words, not only is it pure in itself, a salih, but if it's muslih, then it's called tahur. So the human being can be one of three things. He can be like water, which is the source of his nature, khabith or najis. He can be tahir, he can be pure, and he can be tahur, not only pure, but purifying. And the Prophet ﷺ was somebody who wherever he went, he purified people because he himself was pure. We know that the angel split his own chest and performed the open heart surgery in the middle of the desert and took his soul out. His heart was taken out, and what was poured on it? Ice water. Ice water. It was water that purified the Prophet. Now the interesting thing about ice water, if you look at the nature of water, water, unlike other substances that we see around us, water can be within the natural temperatures that exist on this planet, can go into the three categories. A water can be a liquid, it can be a solid, and it can be a gas. And this is very unusual to find this in creation, but water can be all three. And this is the nature of the self. The self can be one of three. It can be either like a gas, in which if it's heated by the fire of shahawat, if shaitan, which is heats up the soul, then the soul begins to take on a gaseous form and becomes arrogant and rises and dissipates into the air until it's nothing. Or it can be like water in its liquid form that takes on the shape of the container that it exists in. And this is the nature of people who in good company they're good and in bad company they're bad. In other words, mutadabbibun. And this is the nafs al-lawama. It's the reproachful self that goes between good and bad. But also the soul can be like ice, and this is why the Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma tahhirni bil-ma'i wal-thalji wal-barad. Purify me with water, with ice, and with hail, which is rain made of ice. In other words, the soul itself can become fixed and firm with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can be like purified water, but thabit. And this is the nature of the Muslim. They should be people that have thubut, or be established in their deen, not able to waver, so that they can exist in any situation, and they can't be broken easily. They can't be destroyed. They have to be strong in their deen.
رمضان تجلى وابتسم طوبى للعبد إذا تنما